I'm Devi Georg. This is Spitha. He wanted to practice with me today. Today I'm going to work on hip openers, and specifically hip openers that target the piriformis muscle. Now, the piriformis muscle is really, really deep in the hips. It's kind of underneath all of the glutes, the muscles that make you look like you have a butt. So the problem with the piriformis, it's really deep, it's small, and we actually have a lot of stuff going on in the piriformis. The sciatic nerve can go through the piriformis as well as the femoral artery, and if the muscle is too tight, it could lead to problems such as piriformis disorder, which manifests as sciatica, which, if you've ever had sciatica, is incredibly painful. So this is a really good way to kind of open up the hips, loosen up that deep, deep muscle, and you know, make your hips feel better. Now, I always see hip opening workshops labeled as happy hips, and it makes me crazy because for me, I don't know if you may know this about me, but my hips are a mess. When I was an infant and a toddler, I had to wear braces on my legs. It took me 3 years just to be able to sit in pigeon pose. So hip openers for me are really, really challenging, really, really painful. Like excruciatingly so. So whenever I see happy hips, I just kind of want to punch someone. So maybe you might have the same reaction to hip openers as I do. Maybe you love them. Either way, this should work. So I'm going to come over here. Excuse me, Speed. Then I'm just going to come into lizard pose. So I'm going to bring my left leg forward. My right knee's on the floor behind me, and I'm going to drop down nice and low, trying to get the forearms down on the ground. Now, if you can't get the forearms on the ground, that's totally fine. Maybe you might start off over here, and this is your limit. What you can do is you can bring the right arm out to the right and just drop the right elbow down. You just kind of fall over to the right. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You can just sort of do that and just wait for the left elbow to come down. So just sitting here, we're actually working through the groin now. We're not working on the piriformis yet, but we're starting to loosen up the muscles that support the joints. So my left foot's out to the left a little bit. Here's another thing too. A lot of people have a tendency to keep the knee in line with the hip when they're doing hip openers, and this is a recipe for disaster. You really kind of need to get the bones out of the way to stretch the muscles. It's the difference between, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to start moving into the hip here. I'm going to roll onto the pinky toe side of my foot, and I'm letting my knee roll out to the left. And Spitha is completely unimpressed by what I'm doing right now. So as I start rolling the knee out, my right knee's on the floor. You can see that there. I can start to feel that stretch through the hip joint. From here, I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to walk my left foot over to the left and in. So I'm going to start coming into pigeon. Excuse me. Don't give me that look. So I'm going to grab the left foot, and I'm moving my left knee all the way out to the left. So again, remember when I was talking about don't keep the knee in line with the hip? Can you see my hip is over here? My knee is over here. A lot of times I'll see people do pigeon pose like this. And I'm sitting like this right now, and I can actually feel the thigh bone grinding into that hip joint. I can actually feel that. It's called compression. Your bones are not going to move. They're not going to get out of the way. Expecting them to bend is irrational and dangerous. I really don't think there's a right or a wrong way of doing a yoga pose, but I do think there are a lot of ways that are just dangerous. Don't do that. So I'm going to grab the foot, move it all the way out to the side, and now from here, here's the important thing. Don't let your left butt cheek just drop to the floor. So we're going to bring the top of the right thigh down on the floor. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to drop the right hip bone and the left butt cheek down to the ground at the same time. So I'm here in pigeon. I'm really feeling that deep Stretch right back here, right in the piriformis. Okay, so we're in pigeon. Here's the bad news. To really get the full benefit of pigeon, you gotta stay here for like 5-10 minutes. Don't do this for like 10 breaths and think that's it. That's not how this pose works. If you wanna get that hip loose and flexible and open, you're gonna have to be here for a while. I try and do this at least once a year for 30 minutes on each side. Again, my hips are a mess. I need this to kind of keep all the muscles, all the connective tissue around the hips loose and open. Otherwise, I have actually a lot of pain. So, continuing on from here, so stay here 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15. It's something you can do while you're watching TV. If you feel any discomfort in the knee here, what you can do is just bring the heel closer to the groin. That's the modification there. So from here, moving right along, I'm going to take the left leg into a leg cradle. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring the sole of the left foot into the elbow pit of the right arm. And I'm wrapping my arms around the leg and I'm just rocking. So kind of like you're holding a baby and you're rocking the baby side to side. So now remember, the foot is the baby's head, so you don't want to have the head too low. Now maybe this is where you're at, and that's fine, and that's your limit. That's okay, you do your best. But remember, we're trying to bring the foot in line with the shoulders. So foot and knee in line with the shoulders and just rocking. And again, feeling that piriformis stretch. And then from here, you can do a double pigeon as well. So I'm bringing my ankle over the knee over the opposite ankle. If this is not enough of a stretch for you, you can actually hook the ankle over the knee. This is too much for me, I can't do that. If this is too much for you, what you can do is allow the sole of the foot to roll up and just slide the foot down. So we're just stacking foot over foot. We're not crossing, we're just stacking one over the other. And from here, just leaning forward. Eventually trying to get the elbows down. This is also called fire log pose. It depends on the lineage. You know, whatever. I'm not one to really sit around and argue over what a pose is called. And there you have it. Hip openers, really basic stuff. Again, remember, 5 to 10 minutes on each side. If you feel any pain in your knee, back off the pose. Don't do it. We don't want to stretch our knees. There are a couple of yoga poses I know that actually do stretch the knees. I do them about maybe once a year for like 10 seconds each side. If you ever want to run or hike or climb stairs, don't stretch your knees. It's just a bad idea. Thanks for watching. Om Shanti.